Hi, it's Deborah Hamilton, Hamilton Law and Mediation, and the Why Do Pets Matter podcast, as well as my wonderful community, which you're part of, the MAAP community. And right before I came on the air, one of my colleagues, Teresa Bechtel, lovely, lovely member of the New York State Bar Association Animal Law Committee, and also an actuarial attorney, sent me the side-by-side comparisons of taking out an annuity to care for your pet at day one when you get it versus getting pet insurance. And I am mathematically challenged, so I am going to try to run off the spreadsheet and bring it to my husband. And to me, it looks like it's a no-brainer to take an annuity out. $117 a month, which is what you would pay for the pet insurance. It never runs out. It's always there. And then you can use it on another dog because it's there as an annuity. So I'm going to have more information for everyone on that next week. But thank you, Teresa. I'm actually going to ask her to be a guest on this program, and I'll let everyone know because she's just a fountain of information and really a lovely, lovely person. So on that note, I'm going to continue our discussions about making a plan. It's been another interesting week because we are, of course, navigating my friend Jan's dogs. And I have to say her brother, who was completely outside the loop, has been a bastion of trying to understand on overdrive what dog people do, because they were outside the loop. So Connie knows this as well as I do. Sally has some input in this because she's in my crazy world. But we have a lot of things that are of great value to no one but Wheaton people or Irish Setter people. And so they found all the Setters Inc. Magazines from the early 70s. And they asked me if those should go into the recycling booth or if those should go to the historian or someone. And I said, just hold on to them. I think somebody may want them because they have all the old dogs from the 70s that we all have in our pedigrees 2 or 3 or 4 generations back. So we Irish Setter people are crazy. Also, Jan was running an auction to help raise funds for the field trial when she passed away. I even bet on a bell, a little, door, ring, ring, ring kind of bell. It's, you pull the chain, and it had an Irish Setter on it. So, of course, the new house, I want that for the front door. But the auction had to be postponed because all of the auction items are in Jan's house, which is now in the control of her brother, who A, is doing the best he can, B, probably doesn't even know where any of this stuff is. And so it's a little bit of a larger conundrum than when I spoke to you guys last time. And Kieran, I want you to know I've passed on all the information on One-Eyed Leo to my New York State Bar Association and my American Bar Association animal law committees. And I'm going to send them copies, with your permission, of One-Eyed Leo so they can share it with their people as well. These are the people who are the lawyers who do all the animal law things that I agree with and sometimes don't agree with, because today was a perfect example where they said, well, we're going to go in and talk to the family law attorneys and tell them that what they said about, pets of divorce was wrong. And we're going to listen to them, but we're not discussing it with them. And of course, when we took the vote to send that note, I abstained because, as everyone here knows, having a conversation about pets is what's the most important piece of this puzzle. So without further ado, I'm going to check in with everyone. Susan, you're going to show me the picture on your refrigerator, right? You're muted, honey.
I will promise it for next week. I've had such a crazy week, and
that's better than anything else I could ask for. So that's great.
Yeah.
Especially now with Jan, I'm even more kindly insistent because let me tell you, the people who are trying to navigate this with no information are really, they don't know whether to stand up dance or sit down. They really don't know what to do.
I know, it's terrible, and I'm so
And it's
sorry.
only your breeder's number. Just slap that sucker up on the
No, I
refrigerator.
actually have some magnetic stuff that I can use, and I can get it up there, and it's not a big deal, but you know.
Oh, I know. I have a list. See, this is the list. This is the list. If I can see, this is my list. It rolls over when I don't get everything done on my list. So yes, I do know. We do the best we can, and there is absolutely no guilt, no judgment, no nothing. It's just that we gently nudge. It's
I
nudging.
appreciate it, because I do understand. Yeah, Maggie's been a little wild today, so I'm not feeling too kindly to her.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've set up all these barricades in my house, and she seems to be able to find ways to foil every single one of them. So,
yeah. Welcome to the world of terriers and Irish setters as well, because I don't think there's a barrier that's been made that if an Irish setter wants to get over it, under it, through it, they can't. I'm sure Connie will share when we check in that terriers are about as determined. Now, I have actually taught my dogs to leave baby gates laying against the door up because they get treats when they don't touch it. So, as I always say, Irish setters are the Jerry Maguires of the world. I have made it worth their while. I've shown them the money. And they know if I stay here, because there are people who will comment, I cannot believe your dogs don't just knock down that gate and keep walking. And I said, they know what's in it for them if they don't. I said, because if they knew what was in it for them, if they did, that wouldn't bother them at all.
Yeah. Anyway. I feel like opening my door and letting Maggie run out today. Because,
oh, God.
Yeah, that's how bad she is.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think she needed a crate timeout. I think do you have a crate still?
I do.
Yes, you need a crate timeout. I'll check in with Connie as well. But my thought is that if I ever want to open the door and say free to a good home, I put the dog in the crate, or I put myself in a crate until the feeling passes, until it goes.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, they get to you. They really do. They can be naughty. Even old girls can be naughty. As Sally's going to tell us about something that happened earlier this week that was lovely, and I kept telling her, please just watch Roxy because she will take it on. So let me go to Connie and see how everything's going with our Wheatons. I know that you've been pretty busy with the kids. Well, with Casey.
With Casey. Well, we don't have any shows until Halloween weekend, as a matter of fact, because everything is still sort of kind of opening up here in Southern California, but not really. We got great news yesterday that the CDC has designated us as the only one of the 50 states in the union that has come down from the very high screaming red COVID case rate. So that is wonderful. And masks work, vaccination mandates work, all of the above. Yeah. So at any rate, we are very, very grateful for that. As far as gates and staying behind them, my kids are very good about that, but let us just say that Wheatons have, the old reach and drive. And when you have a herding dog, the dog has to have, pretty good propulsion in the rear quarters. Let's just say that they can jump a 6-foot fence.
Right.
Mine have
standing still, like a pogo stick.
Absolutely. Mine have not, but that is not to say that the thought hasn't crossed one of or more of their twisted minds. Yes. So, you've got to be really, really careful, especially in the backyard. Even though I have a fully gated, fully fenced yard, I still have to look out the window and see, especially what young Mr. Casey is doing. So, yes, I know all about that. Other than that, things are pretty good.
Good, wonderful. And no fires in your area. They've gone away or they're
Oh,
way north?
well, we're gearing up for big time fire season. But so far they seem to be about 70% under control up north, the Dixie fire and the Caldor fire. But they're, I mean, the air quality is still horrific. And Northern California is more in danger than we are, but they're opening up the national parks up north. So that's good news.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I'm glad to hear that Casey and your girl, whose name is Patsy, Casey and Patsy, his mom, are doing great. So I got to check in with Sally, who has those two wild redheads.
Redheads are perfect, as always. They never do anything wrong. They're just fabulous. When the windows are open, I see them both standing there with their heads up at people height, barking at whatever's happening outside. And Sunday morning was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was making a cup of coffee and I was standing at the window and my husband was watching TV and I glanced out and I just saw black against the window. And I'm like, I don't generally see black outside the window. And it was a huge male black bear right in the front yard. And with that, I got a text from the next door neighbors and 10 seconds later from the neighbors beyond me. And it was just making the rounds. So I kept the girls didn't know, completely missed that one. The windows were
God.
up. Yeah, thank heavens. And then after about 20 minutes, I thought, okay, I ran out. I go, I'm going to let him out. And Roxy went immediately to where she came onto the property, Athena following every step she took and to where she left, and then started going to the neighbors. And then I brought him back in again. But she got that scent immediately. So, but this was a huge male bear.
Wow.
I will share with all of you that Sally shared a picture because not only was she getting her coffee, she got her phone and took a picture of the large bear. And I said, FYI, Roxy will think she needs to kill it. So please don't let her outside because I think this might be one of the animals that she locates in the wild that she will not be able to kill. She is definitely prey oriented, as they say. However, this prey would have given her a run for her money. It was probably 500 pounds, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, this was a really, really big boy. And I was thinking about the previous dog we had, Buffy, who was an itty bitty dog. And with back to the baby gates that we put up, I would put up a baby gate so Buffy couldn't get to other parts of the house. And the Irish setter, Buffy would cry because the Irish setter had full rule of the house. The Irish setter would always stay and sort of babysit the long-haired dachshund and comfort her. And the long-haired dachshund had to be in a crate and the Irish setter didn't. And the Irish setter would always sit right next to the entrance to the crate and comfort the long-haired dachshund. It was an amazing bond that the two of them had. And when they arrived, they were not good friends, but they always watch out for each other and take care of one another. I never wanted to have two dogs, but it's been an amazing learning experience.
Yeah, there's been somebody who's been crushing that idea for you for a long time now. It's amazing. Everybody's here because they want to learn how to make the MAAP plan, make a plan, appoint caregivers, address the needs of your pet, and publish, which most people haven't even thought to put in writing, and you really need to do it. I've put it in writing. I've shared it with Sally, although I'm going to update it now because we presumed that Sally would have to give up Roxy at the beginning of October because I'm going to be in Connecticut. And we aren't even going to have electricity in our new house at the end of October. So what do? You have to look at the plan. Yeah, somebody's really sad about that. So you have to look at your plan and then ask your caregiver, are they able to continue to take care of her? And if not, you have to make extra plans or different plans. These are things that you have to think about. You can't just presume somebody is going to want to keep your dog. I mean, I'm blessed. Both Roxy and Judy are with people who, when they heard that they'd have to stay, both said, well, we're changing our address, so you're not going to get her in November either. So I'm blessed. But these are the people you need to find. And I know it's hard to do, but as Connie has said, she has people who are right there for her when she's going away. She's there for them, and she knows who the alternate people are, because you know what? We do things. We go to the baseball game, we go to the theater, we, go away ourselves. And we need to have people who are going to be there and people to back them up in case they're not going to be there on the week we're away. I mean, my son Thomas just came up from Florida, and if I had dogs, I'd be thrilled because he could have watched the dogs while I was going up to New York. As it turns out, the dogs are other places, otherwise engaged, but it really is important for you to make a plan. And the second most important thing to do is address the needs of the pets. I mean, when Jan's brother came, he didn't know who the dogs were. I think he knew who were male and female, if he checked the plumbing. But even so, it really is so important. And I can feel the trepidation they have. I've been talking to them often. I feel the trepidation they have because they aren't on the inside loop. I mean, Sally is on the inside loop for what I'm doing with the dogs and how the dogs are. And so is Mark and Tabitha Bettis, who have Junie. They're in the inside loop. They have everybody's number. They know where to go, what to do if something happens to me. But if I sat here and gave my dogs to Susan and just said, here are my dogs, and not given her any of the numbers or anything, Susan would take the best care of my dogs. But if something happened to me, who would she call? She wouldn't know. So you really need to make that plan and put in all the information that someone's going to need to know about each and every dog, their microchip number, their name, their call name, where their papers are, where their medical records are, who their vet is. These are all things we're going to learn at the workshop that we're going to do in October. And I know Rose almost beat the snot out of me because I gave the wrong date last time. I do these things because I love doing them. I don't necessarily commit them to memory because I'm so busy with everything else. But it is the 15th and 16th from 11 to 1. So I know a number of you have been there before. When we put the flyers up, I would be absolutely thrilled if you would share it with your clubs, with your friends, because I know I've been putting a lot of heart-wrenching things up on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and so many people who I don't even know are sharing them because they're saying, oh my God, this person died. She left 6 dogs behind and nobody knew what to do with them. And I'm not trying to make hay while someone is miserable. I'm trying to sort of have people say, oh shit, this can really happen. This can really, truly happen. And a few of the people who've made MAAP plans with me years ago called me up and said, oh, by the way, I need to work with you again because so-and-so moved, so-and-so died. All of their people on the MAAP plan passed away. And when I made the MAAP plan originally, my girlfriend said, you need to do MAAPS. And I said, what do I need the S for? She goes, schedule a review every year because people's lives change and they don't even remember they promised you that they would keep your dog. And so you really need to check in with them. This isn't, not believing that they're going to take care of your dogs. And some people get offended when you ask them all the time, are you going to take care of my dog? But you really do need to double check at least once a year that everybody is in a position. I mean, right now I have all my puppies out there that I've said I'll take back. Well, if we had an en masse drop-off of rum-raisin puppies to me right now, I'd be in a bit of a pickle because I can't have dogs at this place. So if they called me, I would have to try to find someone to take them in lieu of me, and I would do that, and that would be something I do. But really, you need to make this plan for your pets. Make it with neighbors, make it with family members, let co-owners know so that they know what's up. I'm going to check in with Kieran now. I don't know if you heard me before, Kieran, but I didn't share it yet because I thought I had to ask permission. But I'm going to share One-Eyed Leo with the American Bar Association's Animal Law Committee and with the New York State Bar Association's Animal Law Committee. They were really thrilled at hearing about what you'd created. And I said I will check with the author and see if I can share it because I did get the issue with the Irish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals endorsement. So I want to make sure I give them the right one.
Don't think about even needing to ask, Debbie. Just run ahead.
Just run headlong into the
Run
wall.
ahead, run ahead. It's, I do, when you're saying something to me like that, I can promise Connie, I actually feel like jumping the 6 meters straight away. It is possible. The good news.
Yeah,
I
it
know.
is.
I'm surprised Sally didn't jump the 6 meters when she saw the bear, but that's
Holy, when she sent me that picture, I have to tell you. So the story about Roxy, since we're all here together and we've been here for a while, and you guys know the MAP plan better than anybody. And if you're listening for the first time, I just gave you a little snapshot of the MAP plan. Join us on the 15th and 16th. But I have to tell you that in Roxy's dossier is the fact that she has ended the life of a beautiful parrot in one just fell swoop. She landed on the cage. The cage broke for some reason. We don't understand why. And that bird had been there for 6 years. It wasn't like it was a new bird. That bird had been there for 6 years. He came and visited for 6 years. She knew him. He knew her. They were buds, we thought. And one day she came in, hit the cage. The cage disintegrated. She picked him up in her mouth. She gave him one good shake. That's all it takes for parrots. They got really fragile bones. And Rocky went to his eternal reward. And my girlfriend Susie was just destroyed, as was I. I didn't know it at the time because I was away and Susie was taking care of my dogs. But she has also dispatched 2 chickens and almost a goat. So, you know, when I tell Sally about Roxy, I said, you really need to make sure she doesn't see any little white dogs. So she and Maggie would not be good friends. Although Susan might invite Roxy over on bad days with Maggie.
Okay.
But Roxy she's, and it just started when she was like 6 or 7. She never touched anything ever until she was 6 or 7. And then she decided, I've had enough of these little white things. And thank God I never had any little white things in my house. But then she went to stay with Susie, and Susie took her over to her friend's house who had some chickens, and they were in a fenced-in coop. So I'm telling you, if it's worth it to them, they will get in over around fencing. And so 2 of the birds were dispatched to their eternal reward. And then one goat was sort of kind of mauled a little, but thank God was rescued and was not seriously injured. But you really have to know your dog, you have to share that information. And I don't know, Connie, I mean, you have terriers, so they tend to be a little rat chasers. You probably don't have any rodents in your area, in your house, but California's noted for having little lizards and salamanders and things like that. And maybe the kids go after those, or they know better.
Well, actually, Wheatons are a strange hybrid of terrier. They're actually the mildest tempered, but they were also primarily stock dogs, herding sheep and cattle, and they are sporting terriers. They would go out and bag the family dinner, so they do have bird instinct. And in fact, when seagulls fly down my canyon from the Pacific, the dogs are out there looking like setters and doing their thing. But yesterday morning, as a matter of fact, Mr. Casey was out in the backyard with his mom doing his thing. And suddenly I noticed that he was really interested in a fenced off area around a mandarin orange tree that I have. And there was a dead squirrel that had dropped off the retaining wall or out of the tree or something in the middle of the night. And it was a corpus delicti. And he was trying his damnedest to get back there. So, of course, I had to go and grab a very thick plastic bag and just kind of go like this and pick up the squirrel and throw it in the trash can. But they are crazy squirrel hunters, the live ones that run around the big trees in the back. So, and of course, the squirrels love to taunt them. So yes. They definitely have rodent instinct. And in fact, I was thinking to myself, I need to find the nearest barn hunt competition because I got a dog I could put a title on. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And that's another certificate for him to have on the wall with
yes.
Mr. Casey's name.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So I want you to share Casey's registered name with everyone because there's a reason why he's called Casey.
Well, for those who are not aware of the way we breeders identify our neonate pups when they first come out of mom, of course, the obvious thing is, to flip them over and see what sex they are. But if you have multiples of each sex, that doesn't work real well for a long time. So we put little Velcro colored collars on them. And of course, change the collars as the puppies grow, but keep the same color ID on them. So Casey turned out to be Mr. Blue in his litter. And being a Los Angeles Dodgers fan forever, he was Mr. Dodger Blue. And then when I was thinking of a litter theme, they were all born on the vernal equinox, right on March 20th. In fact, 1 hour off the real equinox. The real equinox was at 3 p.m. They were born at 2 p.m. So the litter theme was spring, and his registered name automatically became Spring Training. So he was Casey at the bat. And of course, Casey is a good Irish name.
Yep. I love it.
I was trying to think of how I could tie Vin Scully into it. The legendary.
Oh, my husband would have loved you. He
announcer.
loves Vince Scully.
Oh, I mean, he is a hero in Los Angeles. God love him. And he's about 94, 95 right now. But at any rate, it just didn't work. But Casey, that was it.
Yep. Well, I will share with everyone the reasoning behind Athena's name. So Athena was first out best dressed, but I wasn't there because I left a friend behind because I was taking care of an older sick dog. And I just got this inclining at the vet's while I was doing fluids that I needed to get home, that Dulcinea was having puppies. She was ready, but she was, how they are, Connie. They roll around for about 17 hours and have to have them in the middle of the night. And it was 10 a.m. So it was really never occurred to me that female dogs have puppies at 10 a.m. They have them at 3 a.m. That's when they have them. So this puppy came out, and Dulcinea got off a chair, went over in a corner, came back, got back up on the chair. And here was this little puppy in the corner, still in her sack. And so Susie's like, oh my God, and pulling the sack off and rubbing her and stuff. And I drove up just as Athena was not moving. And I, did my whatever I do. And of course, then she started breathing and screaming and crying. And I said, well, you will be Athena, warrior woman, because you went through the wars to get here. So she was Athena, the warrior woman. And that's her call name. Her registered name is, I have no idea. I forgot. Maybe Sally, you remember, but I call her Athena so often. I know that she's supposed to be, well, maybe it'll come to me. That's terrible, isn't it, Connie, that I can't remember her registered name? That's really bad. So it's Rum Raisin something. And then I remember Roxy's name because she was the purple puppy in the litter, and they called her Perp. And for me as an assistant district attorney, Perp is somebody who's going to jail. You're a Perp, you go to jail. So her name is Rum Raisin Jailhouse Hottie. And that's why she's Roxy. She's Roxy Hart after Chicago. So that's why she's Roxy. And I can't believe I can't remember Athena's name, but I'm not going to worry about it. So Kieran, anything else to bring us up to date on?
Yes, I think you might find this interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine who, for whatever he did in a past life, he has a profession called an actuary in this one. Actuaries are basically people who talk in numbers.
You came in like 5 minutes after I started telling you, so I'll tell after you talk, but go ahead. Yes, actuary. We love actuaries.
Okay, so I was explaining why the book was unique and the idea that it's really built around one moment in a family's life, which is when the 6 to 10-year-old starts to demand the dog. And we were trying to work out how many times this conversation happens each day. So when you think about it, it happens in, there's a simple sort of mathematical formula. So in the USA, the pet dog herd is about 90 million, so to say. So that means every year you'll have about 9 million adoptions. It's 10% of the national herd. 1.8 million of those. Now, thank God my friend did the figures, not me. It actually
I'm going to
sounded
send him
interesting.
my grid here so he can explain it to me. So go ahead.
Right, it sounded interesting when Brendan was doing this. So you have about 1.8 million that are adopted by over 60s or people in their 30s who don't have children but want a dog, which leaves roughly around 7 to 7.2 million conversations between a 6-year-old and a parent. So that is, in the States, roughly 19,700 such conversations happen each day, every day of the year.
Oh my God.
And this is the only book so far totally dedicated to that conversation.
And isn't it necessary, because the parents need to have the conversation. If they don't know how to have that conversation, this book is going to help them do that. Today I spoke with Chris Roy of Dubert, and he does a lot of shelter work and a lot of, Chris, and we were talking about the, alleged huge drop off of animals in shelters. And he said, one of the reasons people are dropping dogs off in shelters is because mandatory eviction waivers have been lifted. And so some people have to leave their homes, and finding an apartment that allows a pet is really difficult. And I don't know if all of you remember way back when, but when this first started and people were saying those horrible people who adopted dogs during the pandemic and now are dropping them off, well, they might be dropping them off because they don't have an alternative. They should be here on the MAP plan so we could help them find one. However, I said at the time it would be so helpful if shelters and rescues would figure out an alternative to taking the dog back. Maybe a foster home, maybe a doggy daycare, something that would give the person an ability to keep the dog or get the dog back when they find suitable housing, when they find their work schedule is able to keep the dog, giving them that interim breathing room to shift because we're all in a seriously mentally compromised state. I cannot remember Athena's registered name, so I raise my hand. We're in a seriously mentally issued state, and people really just need a break. I mean, Susan could use a break. If somebody would come along and just take Maggie for a little while and give her a break, that would be great because she's driving her nuts. But if you could give somebody a break, and then when they get their feet under them, a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever it is, give them their dogs back. Just think how wonderful that would be. So reading the book, One-Eyed Leo, to know what the commitment is up front. But if you've already made the commitment, maybe trying to figure out how not to be so judgmental as a rescue or a shelter, and recognizing these people are doing the best they can, and helping them keep the dog. Because you don't want the dog back. Heavens to Murgatroyd. You don't want the dog back. You want to make sure the dog stays with this owner who loves them, but just is finding themselves in a bad position right now. I don't know how all of you feel, but my thought today with Chris Roy and hearing what Kieran just said, my thought is that if you're going to have the conversation with your kid, 19,000 of these conversations, and I probably had 10,000 of those conversations, would you really want to be able to find something as a helper, either because something happens and you might have to place the dog, or something happened to someone in your family, we know death, disease, divorce, dementia, that you have to plan for. So I don't know, guys, what do you think? I think this is a good way to wrap up, but what do you think? I mean, being able to have that compassion and empathy for people is really key.
Absolutely. And I think I have to take Susan off of my MAP plan because she has a small white dog. So I'll switch it up to perhaps.
Didn't know I was on your MAP plan.
Yes, well, you know what, Susan? These are people who call who know about your dog. I tell you that if Jan's brother had somebody on like us, and Jan had been on this call, we could have told them all about how their dog was, because we all know about what Maggie's like. We all know about Casey and Patsy. We all know about Roxy and Athena. So if Jan had been a part of this group and her brother knew about this group, he could come on and we could fill him in, even though she didn't write anything down. So yeah, it really is important to establish these relationships. You might be far away. However, we all know about each other's dogs. So if God forbid anything ever happened, we see it go up on Facebook, we could write to Sally's, friends and say, listen, I know all about Athena and Roxy because we were together on this MAP plan. That's what I'm trying to cultivate. I'm trying to cultivate a group that is going to support each other or help each other find a local group to help them with their pets. So any last words, guys? Because I'm running over again and I'm loving it.
No, I think all the best to Kieran. You're doing a great job and we're all behind you, Kieran. Good luck.
Karen, you're doing a fabulous job. Absolutely. Go do the Lord's work.
And believe me, we're all going to give them to our puppy buyers when we have litters. And I actually have sent it to everybody who has had a litter in Irish setters. I sent a copy of it and I said, send this to your new puppy buyers so they know. Brilliant. And you could do that too, Connie. You could send some of those Wheaton people who post on the Wheaton site.
Actually, Kieran, I have already shared your manuscript with a dear friend of mine who lives up the hill, who is a dentist, and her husband is an internal medicine doc. They have 2 young daughters. One is 13, the other I think is 10, and the girls are at the point where they're old enough to have a dog, and the older one is dying for a golden retriever. And in fact, my friend Sarah has contacted SoCal Golden Retriever Rescue, and they've identified a 4-year-old dog that it looks like I'm hoping they adopt because he seems like a wonderful dog. The owner died, Deborah.
Oh, God.
And so, yeah. So SoCal GRR took him the dog. But at any rate, I shared your manuscript with Sarah. She emailed me back all in caps. This is fabulous. She shared it with her girls. She and her husband read it, and everybody in the family is on board. So with your permission, if they do adopt this dog from SoCal GRR, I would love to share your manuscript with them.
Oh, do. And I'd love to print their testimonial as well. It's
fantastic.
It's a growing list. It's a growing list. Yeah.
You should start a Facebook page for One-Eyed Leo. Did you do that yet?
We have that. Yeah.
Yay.
We have to all be members. Go do that.
Yes, we do.
Hang up. So
I'll send that on. I'll send that on. Yeah.
Good. Send it to the link and I'll share it with everyone. So until next time, remember, share with your friends and family the workshops October 15th and 16th from 11 to 1. And if it's wrong, I think Rose will hit me again with a wet noodle, but I think I'm right. But it's on the website. It's up. It's a beautiful, push it, just do it. So just have your friends go. And until next time, stay safe. Kiss your dogs for me. This is Deborah Hamilton, Hamilton Law and Mediation, the Why Do Pets Matter podcast. And of course, this wonderful MAP community that I live for every Wednesday night. Thank you for coming, guys. Bye.
Deborah.